Hey, what's up you guys, it's Simon. Welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, we are doing the one marker challenge, hence why we are in Jazza's Arty Games app. By the way, not spons. This was just the most convenient way that I could think of to get all of my markers into one system and get a random marker. It's a lot easier than trying to find something that isn't my Copic case that I can fit all of my colors into, because my Copic case is color coded, so I could literally just grab from whatever area that I wanted a specific color from and be happy with the outcome. So that's, you know, it's basically cheating. So I decided that doing this would be a lot easier. So let's see what color we get. Hopefully it's something nice and springy and not gray. VO6. Okay. It's a little on the darker side, but I quite like it. It technically is called lavender. The swatch makes it look a little more pastel than it actually is. So let me show you guys on my Copic chart here. This is VO4, so it's like the neon-y-ish purple. Let me zoom in so that you guys can actually see, because my chart is actually quite tiny. So the VO6 color is the color right underneath this super saturated purple. It's a little like muted pinky purple. So let's see what exactly we can make from this. Okay, so getting into the actual illustration. So the first thing I did was I found a reference image on Pinterest. If you want to see which reference I used, you can go to my pose references board on my Pinterest. It's the same username as everything here. Should be easy for you guys to find. I don't think it is currently linked in the description. If I remember, I will try to link it either in the description or in the pinned comments so that you guys can see. So yeah, I originally sketched the sketch with just a ballpoint pen on copy paper as sort of like a warm-up, but I ended up actually really liking the outcome. So I took the sketch into Procreate and cleaned it up a little bit, and I changed her outfit because for some reason I wanted her to look really sporty. I imagined her having like these like solid block color shorts and like a cropped hoodie and like really long hair. I was thinking about giving her like an Adidas hoodie or something like that, but then I was like, no, because I just wanted it to look a little bit more unique, I guess. The reason I wanted to put her in a cropped Adidas hoodie is because I don't know if any of you guys play Sims 4 out there, but for every sporty wear, I put every single one of my Sims in Adidas hoodies. I don't know why, I just like the aesthetic of it. So that was sort of what I had in mind for this illustration. So yeah, once I'd cleaned it up and made those changes, I moved over to the light board that you guys saw me using at the beginning of this video. I decided rather than sketching it again in pencil, I'd just move straight into the line art. You guys know I don't like using fine liners that often, and even less do I like to use black as my line art, so I went straight in with my colored pencil. I decided to go with purple because obviously our marker that was chosen for us was purple or lavender. I personally like to use harder pencils to do line art. Right now I'm using a regular Crayola pencil, but I'm also a fan of the Prismacolor very thin pencils, or like pretty much every brand of watercolor pencil I've used so far. I don't know if you guys can tell in the video, but I had so much trouble keeping my pencil sharpened because I like to have a really fine point when I do these illustrations, because it makes it easier to get fine lines that you would normally get from a fine liner, but it just kept getting dull so fast and it was really annoying, and I was constantly having to sharpen off camera. Anyways, so after the sketch was finished, I did away with the light box and fixed some of the areas that needed a little bit of cleaning up. You guys might have seen me use this in my wish video, and it seemed so gimmicky in like every other video that I saw it on. But I love this electric eraser. It's really great for fine details, and it actually erases a lot better than I thought it would, even with colored pencils, which are particularly hard to erase. It comes with two different sizes. There's like the base size that it comes installed, I guess. It comes with, and then there are finer ones that you can swap it out for. It is ridiculously hard to swap out the tips, but once you do, it's very, very nice. I really like using the fine tips. It helps a lot for keeping my illustrations tight because, again, I don't like to do line art. I like to let the sketch sort of speak for itself so I can keep some of that looseness in my final illustration. So, if you were thinking about getting a really gimmicky eraser, it's actually really, really helpful. So, once I'd cleaned everything up, I finally went in with the marker, and it was shocking. I filmed this video a good chunk of time after I filmed the intro, and for some reason I'd convinced myself that the purple was a lot more pastel than it actually was. So obviously I started panicking almost right away. I was planning on getting a lot of the value with layering because copics are obviously, they are alcohol based. You can put in one wash of color, and once they're dried you can add in another wash or 2 or 3 or however many you would like in order to build up the shade with just one marker. Hence why the one marker challenge usually is so easy to do, even if you only have, again, one marker. But because I was working with the mid-tone, it was actually a lot harder for me. So I realized I was going to have to start getting a lot of value from the pencil, which again was not my original plan, and also might technically be cheating, but I had to get the values in there somewhere. I knew I couldn't use the actual marker. I got the idea to maybe draw on plastic like I had done for the highlighter video and sort of get the value that way, but I figured that was just like insane to try and do, and I didn't test it out beforehand, and so I got the value the only way I knew I could, and that was through shading sort of the lighter areas with the pencil so that I could get a darker tone, but not a crazy darker tone. And then when it came to placing the marker in ways that would make sort of the illustration pop, I knew I wanted to do her hair. That was the first thing that came to my mind and the first thing I started with, obviously, but I knew I could get a little bit of layering in there. I had originally intended to do some feathering and leave like the highlights, but for some reason I only did it on one side of the hair, and then when I got to the other side I completely covered it up and realized, oh, well, there's no going back from that, and I had to cover it up and then go over and highlight it with some gel pen, which is not cheating. I do believe everybody that has done this video does it with a pencil, a marker, and a highlighter, a white gel pen, so I think I was legally allowed to do that. But anyway, I tried to build up some value in the hair, and then I had to move around and do her clothing. I originally was going to have her hoodie be sort of like a darker color. I was going to layer it, but again, it was too dark, and I knew it was going to end up right next to her hair, so I instead decided to do a sort of like stripe design across the top of her hood, just so that I could bring in that purple there on the hoodie, but not have it blocked in solidly like I was intending to do originally, because otherwise it would have turned into just like this purple blob, and there would have been no separation, and I thought that would be very bad. So I went in with the chisel nib, and I did that first stripe, and then I realized if I worked with the chisel nib a little bit more, there would be more ink saturation. I don't know what it is about chisel nibs. They just seem to hold a higher concentration of ink than the brush nibs do. So it was really nice because I could get a really solid, almost like black tone from the chisel nib, so I did that across the top of her shirt, and then I also went back in with the hair to sort of add a little bit more depth and a little more shading to it, and then I just sort of slapped the color everywhere where I thought it looked good. I tried to do some layering technique for the shorts. I don't think it came through very well in the actual illustration, But I overall am a lot happier with it than I thought it would be, especially when I first saw that dark swatch of purple. If I were to do this challenge again, I'd really hope for a lighter color, like one of the more pastel ones, or a yellow, in the hopes that I'd be able to work up some more value, but I do still think it was a successful illustration, and it could have been a lot worse. So, if you guys like this video, don't forget to subscribe, and obviously like this video. Maybe leave a comment about what video or challenge you'd like to see me try next. If you do, thank you so much. And speaking of thank yous, I want to give a big shout out to my patron Elise Thompson. Thank you so much for continuing to support me every single month. If you want to help support me and get your name at the end of these videos, along with super cool perks like wallpapers, exclusive video polls, commission and shop discounts, and more, be sure to check out the Patreon at patreon.com/SimonAESArts. I love you guys, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye!